Well, hey friends, we have Chiron in Aries in retrograde right now. So I want to do a quick, or however long it takes, pick a card reading with the question of what you may be working through in this time. And I'm going to use the Tarot of the She as the oracle here. She wants to do that today. And then I've got 4 decks. And so we'll pull a card for each deck, and then I'll split the deck. And we'll talk a little bit about what each wound is, and whichever one you identify with, then you can go to the timestamp and pick that. So let's see if I can get us going and get you off to your individual readings in an efficient way. I'll try. Okay. All right. So I'm going to split this here deck. We will pull a card for each deck. So the first deck we have is Light Seers. And we get on the split here, we get the High Priestess card of intuition, secrets. So that's so we'll pull a card for that. The Tarot of the She says Warrior 8, Dragon Flight. So this is a 5 of Wands. This is about communication and action. It's interesting here, this kind of conflict between the secrecy and the privacy and a person who may appear not to be taking action. So this would be the realm where your wound takes place. So we'll come back to that here and see what you are drawn to. Yeah, so that first category is that I would say it has to do with communication and how you communicate. And one of the things that I understand is that when we see Chiron in retrograde, what has been a healing process that has been external may go internal, kind of like in the way that the High Priestess is using the empathic, psychic, instead of the verbal, instead of the action. So, whereas this is very much talk and act with your willpower. So now we're going to turn to the True Love Tarot. It's a fantastic magical deck. We get the King of Cups here on the split. And with that, the Tarot of the She gives us Judgment, Ascension. The tension here is between, we see, actually, see what you think, but I see speech. I see her speaking. This fairy, the She is a fairy. I see her opening up to an outside world, and she's protecting this land here. Now, Judgment is not about that, but that's what I'm seeing in this image, and we'll see what else we learn as we proceed into this. The King of Cups also cares about the kingdom, and therefore he, though emotionally mature, can be quiet. So this has something to do with your kingdom and being protective through what appears to be, so these are both about communication, but this one is much more about feeling responsible for a kingdom. The Warrior 8, High Priestess, is more about a personal practice of communication. It can be about out there, but it's not in care of kingdom. So I see the wound of the first category being about speech and when to speak, when to act, how to do this. And the second category here is about what you do in service of your kingdom. And the energy here that's also And so like a wound is like a healthy way and a way of the wound. This one is open to the, and this one has her back turned. She embraces, and you can feel that you are excluded. So this is actually coming in to me also as a wound that is about feeling outside, not belonging, and this healthier, open-hearted, come into my world, you're welcome. So this is about some like membership. Okay. So now we're going to go and look into the Muse Tarot and see what we get on the split for that. We get the Magician, ability to manifest, having all the tools that you need to make the world that you wish to live in. So this will be our third one. And the Tarot of the She says that we have the Maker Prince, the Slowpoke Knight here, the Knight of Pentacles. I love this Maker Prince. She, with all the animals, really sweet. So this is very different way of exerting power. One is even though he's called the Maker Prince, like I see this one caring for the world, and this one is like very powerfully shaping and making the world. So these are two ways of the wound of acting in the world here. And we will explore this tension further in the third reading. And finally, we will look at the Forhaxa Tarot, another deck of fairies, and see what this one is about. The Sun. There is the card of absolute happiness and authenticity, the most joyful card in the tarot. There also appears to be like a crack here in the world. Rain coming down, light coming down. Sometimes that comes into me as fire. Today it's coming in as magic. Really sparkly energy there. The Tarot of the She would add to this, the Dancer, an Ace of Cups, divine love. So just have like a fire and water imagery. I'm interested in this one. This is an emotional, this is about being divided into two. You can see this division here, this cut between darkness and light. It's reciprocated here. So this is about being of two hearts, I'm going to say. So that is the nature of your wound. And with Chiron, what you have is that you should look into, I watched an astrologer today who taught me about this. But the myth of Chiron is he was Saturn's abandoned son because he was born half man and half horse, a centaur. And then he's raised by Apollo. And unlike other centaurs who are much more physical and wildly physical, Chiron, raised by Apollo, is brought up as a scholar, as a person who's educated. And then he gets injured, and this injury becomes the way that he helps heal Prometheus, who is the one who brought humans fire, but then who was punished for his whole life. And so Chiron tends to the wounds that Prometheus gets. It's quite a story. I think he's being eaten up constantly by some kind of gut-eating violence, like birds or something like that. So the idea of Chiron is that you are born with a wound. It is usually of your own making. And in your life you struggle with this wound. So here we have 4 different possible ways that we can see this manifest, and we will take this deck and we will clarify First one in the realm of communication, of being opening up or being quite expressive, being private and secretive, or being very expressive. This is, you have ambivalence about communication. This one is a wound of belonging. Number 2 is I feel like the outsider here, and I want the kingdom to welcome me in. So you may feel left out, that the world turns its back to you, but you tend to heal others by being very welcoming. That would be how that wound appears. This one is in the realm of how to tend to the world, to the earth, to living beings. You can get into the feeling that you must manipulate and control and use your powers. And this is the healthy way, perhaps. It's also quite slow. So that could be another place to look, is like never getting things done, but feeling like you should. And this one is perhaps a wound where you come to terms with your way of doing things, whichever way it is. It looks like your intention about this really powerful, affecting reality, or this just caring for, tending to the earth reality. And then this one is about being split and divided between worlds. So like being like almost like you're two people. Here, that's the way that your wound looks, and this is they're both very beautiful, healthy cards, actually. To see a wound here in this Ace of Cups or the Sun requires us to look at the imagery here of the split of these two worlds. One of the Sun, one which is fire and willpower, and one of the deeper emotional realms. So we will explore each of these further. I have to now, so there will be timestamps, and I'm going to write down where we go, and I will put the timestamp so you can pop ahead to reading 1 about communication. Reading 2 is about belonging and being excluded and being very inclusive. Reading 2 is about a sense of responsibility for making the world as it should be. And the third one is about being split in two. And you have this wound, and you might know it because you actually help other people who have this wound. So I will see you. So we're going to just start with number 1, which begins right now at we'll just start it right at 13. Okay. So move all of this out of the way, and we will get down to our first reading. So we're going to take this question about opening up or staying closed, communication or silence. And we'll pull some cards here to get some advice on this. So in the realm of speech. So let's ask what you need to say, what you need to keep secret, and what you need to know. And then we'll clarify, okay? I'm going to just do each of these readings intuitively, decide what cards to pull and what questions to ask. So what needs to be said, what needs to be kept secret, and what you need to know. All right. Light seers. Let's see. So what needs to be said? Something about transformation, death, rebirth. Almost like coming, like it's like you have so much of this other world that you can speak for, to, about. We will clarify. What needs to remain secret is the Ten of Swords. This is heartbreak, it's loss, it's something that that has ended and that you are leaving behind as you enter this new day. So that is something to keep private. And what you need to know. Four of Wands. This is community, partnership, authenticity. This is a beautiful card of fire, of the willpower. Okay. I think I need one more card here. Let's look at the bottom. All right, the Fool. So on the bottom, we get two new cards. So the underlying reason for your dilemma about being open and communicating. So here's the Fool. This makes me think of Aries. Currently, we have Chiron retrograding in Aries, and Chiron spends like 8 years here. Some of us were born into this. There's people that were born within the range of 8 years. I was born in 1970, so this is where Chiron was is now returned. And then we have this feeling of, I've been there, I've done that, it wasn't worth it, and then I'm not really seeing this beautiful Ace of Cups here. So these are, it's like you took a leap of faith and it didn't work out, and so you're bummed. And that's why you're actually being told to keep your disappointments, your losses private, and to focus and express instead about this transformation here. Because death is taking something like death, it's like and not letting it be the ending, but letting it be transformative. And so when we think about this, to let death be a beginning, here's the Fool. This is the card of beginning, the beginner's mind, why I thought of Aries. And this is someone who's a little jaded. So if you focus on your losses, you can be jaded and you can miss all of this beauty. This person doesn't think like this at all. She's just going to leap down into this portal. And I sense that the reason why this is important is it has very much to do with finding people that you get to be with that are fun. Like, it's like this is the life that you can transform this into. This is pain, and this is one of the very joyful cards here in the tarot. But let's clarify. I just got a little Rider-Waite-Smith deck here, and it can make clarification go very quickly because, I mean, there's a lot in these images. It's just they're very traditional. So let's see what happens. Okay. Clarifying what you need to talk about is death, the Death and Rebirth card. We get the King of Pentacles, a Six of Cups. There's some more of that undefended love that is the quality of the Four of Wands. And the Hierophant. Well, there's a lot of institutional power here with the King of Pentacles and the Hierophant. So there's this transformation possible, and this is what you need to talk about. I thought of something, but it went out of my mind. You want to talk about transforming our institutions and putting our sense of security into this kind of, remember what it was like when you were a kid and you gave freely and without defense because you'd never been hurt. And it is about returning from this maturity, the stability, so very wealthy, powerful position of moving from that to that. And the effect is to transform on a very structural level. So this is what you're needed to talk about. It's very transformative for you to talk about before this happened, when you were undefended, when you had never been hurt, when you were this young one. Okay. Well, let's clarify this Ten of Swords. You are supposed to keep this private. It doesn't mean you don't heal it. It's just not a part of it. It is what you want to keep private and personal here. But let's see. I'm just kind of open to how this might unfold here for you. There's a Knight of Wands. Lots of action and willpower. That's this energy here, right? The World, and in a big ending of a life cycle, a beginning of a new one, and Justice. Wow, these are very big cards you're getting here. And this wound in the realm of communication and secrets. Well, you have in the past come very passionately and forcefully from a position of victimhood, and that needs to change. That needs to end. You need to be done with that kind of behavior and be more just with what you speak of. So it's hard for people to hear what is really powerful, transformative, love-based communication that makes something like this undefended inner child kind of transformative message that you have. It's really hard for people to hear that if they hear you that you feel like a victim. And so you need to change some sense that you have of yourself being a victim, and it's like there's a sense in this wound of being a martyr who's silent, and that people are just supposed to perceive your wound and feel sorry for you. That actually needs to not be where you come from. You've come from this place, and it is that needs to end. It has left you isolated. And so what you actually are being told here is that you need to find justice and balance. So you need to reconsider how you tell your story about how you got here. This is the attitude to lose. You can shift from, well, that's over, I'm going to start something new. Okay, that's a change in attitude. But it's really hard for people to hear someone who comes from self-pity. It looks like you were able to really be present for other people who have the same loss that you have, that you were able to be present for other people who are hurt, but that when you speak from your sense of victimhood, it's hard to hear you. All right, so this is what you don't know. There's some kind of connection, celebration, joyfulness that the cards want you to know about this. So let's see. There is a change in fortune for you, the Wheel of Fortune, things turning in your favor. And I see this same wheel here in this tambourine. So this image of the wheel. It's like you've been isolated by your practice of coming across like that. You know? What else? The Queen of Wands. Very much the queen of agency, of manifesting the world that you want to live in. Very sexy and attractive person. So that's what's coming through. I think you've been isolated. The speaking from victimhood is what is isolating you. You probably feel like, I'm there for other people. Why aren't they here for me? This is about changing that so that you are as attractive as you are. You have a good heart. You have a beautiful message. Yes. And then you get to work and build with others. There's definitely about your wound isolating you. So we get the On the bottom here. Okay, on the bottom of this deck, you get the Devil. This is the thoughts that prevent you from moving into community, into love. And there is movement here. It's very much like this energy, this action, momentum, the Chariot. So these are your underlying energies. It's the wound and the Devil seem very related to me. So I think the message is clear, and I hope this helps you go forward as you are meant to go forward. Okay, so let me clean this up and we will move into reading number 2. So if you're just still here, you're not supposed to be here. It's just me and me right now. But if you're still here, okay, I'm pretty sure that the second one is this. Yes, it's the King of Cups and Judgment. Okay. Timestamp is, I'm a little bit blinder and blinder, 26:15. Well, hi, you are here to find out about this wound that has to do with belonging, that you feel left outside and excluded, and you tend to be very inclusive as a result of having been the outsider. So we're going to pull some cards here to clarify this reading, and I am going intuitively with what questions we want to ask of the cards. Yes. So when we talk about Chiron and the wounded healer, it's a self-inflicted wound. So let's see what happened. I want to know what happened that you feel outside. And then I want to know what you can release, what you can embrace, and what is hidden from you that the tarot wants you to know. I guess those are my 4 questions for you. It's going to give you a little bit of advice, and we will probably find out as we go about how you help other people, because that is what we do from that wounded place, is we help other people. And what comes in for me immediately is that you help people by being inclusive, by being open-hearted for them. It's because you felt excluded like this. Let's see what the cards say. So the first card is, what happened that gave you this wound? So this looks like friendships. So something happened in your friendships that you are responsible for in some way, excluding yourself from these friendships. What I see is all these couples. I see so there's these shadow relationships behind these 3 friends. And I see them talking. They're in their cups. There's something in the talk. And there's something in the way you're relating to other people's relationships when you talk to your friends. And you mean well, but there's something that's coming up. Like, is it jealousy or desire? Let's see. We'll find out more. What you need to release. The 2 of Cups. So this is the ideal of love. It's new love. It's a soulmate connection. And that's exactly what's coming in here, is like these 3 friends are haunted in some way by these 2s of Cups. These 3 of Cups, and then there's these 2 of Cups out here. So we'll find out. Like, first guess, you abandon your friends for love. And then that is the self-inflicted wound. That means then when your love relationship breaks off, your friends are like, what? You betrayed our friendship. You abandoned our friendship. But let's see. What you embrace, action, momentum, the Chariot. This is your passionate nature, your momentum. There's some kind of action that you need to take here. Okay, what's hidden from you that the tarot wants you to know? Death. Transformation that's very fundamental. It's like your old self dies and a new self rises again here. Okay. I mean, I just love this deck. It's always has like a very powerful reading. Our underlying energy is the Magician. This is the one that has all the tools to make the world that she wants to live in. I think of that. It's a manifesting. You have the power to make it so. As above, so below. Okay, well, let us clarify here. What happened here in your friendships? It looks like something to do with this Two of Cups that you need to release. And I don't mean release your love or your aspiration of romantic love, but see the difference between these two situations? There's just two people here, and then there's a lot of people. There's community, there's a party, there's socializing. So I'm going to say that you isolate when you're in love. That's definitely a part of this wound. So then when you return, when you want to be in community again, it's not there for you anymore. Let's see. Okay. Page of Swords. This is your original wound. High Priestess. And the Knight of Cups. So there's something about the chatter, when you're with these friends. Like you're chatting, you're curious, you're open-minded, like the Page of Swords. You connect intuitively with these people. Even there's ways that you connect with them that are not spoken. But then love comes and offers itself to you, and you end up. I think of the High Priestess as isolated and private, like the King of Cups. Like this person doesn't have anyone that listens to them talk about their feelings. In fact, they've given up talking about their feelings at all. So there's a kind of isolation here. Well, let's keep looking. Let's look at this Two of Cups. So this is what you're supposed to release. Yeah, I just feel like you kind of have people that you keep company with, that you chat with. And you kind of take them lightly, and then when love comes on offer, you just leave. You leave with love, with a lover. So that's why you're being cautioned to release this Two of Cups isolation that you do. When you find a significant other, you abandon your friends. Okay, healing. Four of Swords. Those are your mind, your thoughts. You go alone and you consider your ideas. Then there's an offer of a new beginning. A real offer. New house, new job, and an Ace of Cups. Well, what you need to consider here in releasing this Two of Cups is that there's these two offers. One is basic and boring and steadfast. It's like a friendship. It's friendships there. You can always count on the real offer of an Ace of Pentacles. And then this one is definitely, I'm always like all about the divine love, the romantic side of things. But these hands are offering you and taking you in different directions because you're being told to release this. And the clarification basically says that you need to examine your ideas about your friendships versus your love relationships, because it's how you treat the very 3D Ace of Pentacles energy that seemed boring to you. That you need to quit taking these things for granted, taking them lightly like the Page of Swords. So when I look at what's hidden from you, I get this Chariot. What I see is that the Chariot is drawn by two steeds, these sphinxes in this image. And you need both of them to go forward on your journey. And so like the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, they don't need to be in opposition. You don't need to choose one over the other. You need both of them to go forward. Let's find out more. An Ace of Swords. Well, I saw a reader say once that when I pull the Ace of Swords right after I said something, it means I was right. Nine of Wands. There's some exhaustion here from struggle. You feel a little beaten up here. That's what's hidden from you. And then there's that boring old Pentacle energy. Putting in the work, waiting to see the fruits of your labor. Yeah, I see both of these, your passions and your practical, boring 3D world. Again, like there's waiting and exhaustion. It's almost like alone, they're tired. So it's like you need both what you're passionate about and what you can count on. And I feel sorry that like you don't feel passionate about your friendships. Okay. So that's what you're supposed to embrace here is this Chariot energy. I'm sorry, death is what's hidden from you. So the Chariot says, embrace that you need both. Otherwise you just end up stuck. And the Seven of Pentacles is the opposite energy of the Chariot. Like you can't go forward. And then similarly, this one needs to finish, but is tired. It's like, so if you abandon your friendships for love, that sucks. It sucks for your friends. But it also leaves you isolated. Yeah, and you put work into your friendships. I see that too. And so to walk away from that work is leaves you isolated from this wound. Okay, so what the tarot wants you to know is that this is, or maybe I need to know as your reader, that this is a huge transformation. Death. I mean, can't get much huger than that, my friend. So let's see. The Empress. She's solitary. She is amazing and nurturing. She's a very good friend, I'm going to say. She doesn't need a partner. She might have one, but it would be like she's not half of a person. She is a whole person in and of herself. So that's a part of the transformation. There's the Chariot again. There's the Chariot is a card of Cancer. It's a cardinal sign. It's this person with this focus, very powerful. I get a very physical, powerful certainty here from the Chariot because you have both. You have both friends and romantic love. You don't have either or. And then you get to work with others to build the world. This is this kind of energy of the Magician. The Three of Pentacles is definitely having friends or collaborators Each of you has something to bring to the conversation. You build a cathedral together. It's a significant accomplishment. It's much more significant than this Three of Cups, which is really fun, but it can seem light. This Three of Pentacles, you build a real thing together. It's the friendships that we build, the real 3D connections. They last longer sometimes than our romantic relationships. So one thing that I have to say that I see now is that you're feeling left out, and you tend to be welcome people in from that pain of being left out. But part of what is needed to heal the wound is something really, really transformative here. And I think instead of being like this King of Cups, who's emotionally mature, is a sweet person, doesn't open up because they're caring for others. The Empress here is also very nurturing, but she's more grounded. She's less needy. She knows she's like amazing. And so I feel like that's the transformation that will make both your romantic relationships and your friendships healed and solid and complementary instead of in opposition. All right. Well, that's your reading for the Judgment card and the King of Cups. And I'm going to move on now to the third cards. And this is the time where I clean up my mess, and hopefully nobody's here judging how I clean up my mess. But if you're here, thank you for being here. I will pick up the third one when we get to that timestamp. Get these shuffled. Okay, so now we're going to have, I'm really interested in the Magician and the Maker Prince. Number 3, 42. Well, hi, you are here for the Magician and the Maker Prince. We're going to find out about this wound. This appears to be a tension between your responsibility in the world and how to be present in the world. Should you be like this dynamic person that's making shit happen? Or should you be this peaceful, beautiful little fairy she with the owl, with the dog, just really present, sitting within the world? They're very different modes. It's like type A versus, so this could be like your wound is that you are like a workaholic and your healing is that you need to rest. You may constantly give people advice to do self-care and stuff like that. Or you may actually help people do self-care. That could be like a part of your work. Like you could be a therapist for Christ's sake, who workaholic therapist, and you're giving people advice that you don't take. Whatever you're doing, it's like you have the ability to do it, and so then it also feels like you must do it, and it feels like you're enslaved to it. This person is much more peaceful. And the Slowpoke Knight of the Maker Prince, or the Prince of the Knight of Pentacles, is an earth sign, an earthy person, a grounded person. They have a good plan. They're not doing stuff, but they just take their time to do it right, and they don't burn out that way. I'm going to say. So let's see. So this is, what do I want to know here? So I'm just coming up with what I'm going to ask the cards here on the fly, because I think it varies by wound. So let's ask, like, for what are you responsible? And what can you let go of? And that's a great set of questions. And then I think we could thirdly ask, like, what will happen if you shift from doing and being responsible to the slower pace, still responsible, but more peaceful seeming of this Maker Prince, the Slowpoke Knight? All right, so those are the three questions we're going to ask. For what are you responsible? What can you let go of? And what will happen if you let go? Let's see what happens here. We'll split this deck. So for what are you responsible? The Muse of Voices. This is the King of Swords. This is the alignment of heart and mind in grace here. You can see that big pink moon. We can see them dancing on the edge of darkness. I love the Muse of Voices, or the King of Swords. So it's a very intellectual place. It's all about balance and making it with grace, doing it with grace. And I do see some of this energy here. You know, these feel like the same energy. It's just this one is it's the same deck, right? So the art's going to be related, but this kind of hyper solitary responsibility of the workaholic, this is much more about finding balance. It's in the intellectual realm. Okay, there's a little person here on the game plank that I see observing this, walking towards this portal here. It's a triangle. It makes me think of truth, knowledge, and Muse of Voices. It's the swords, it's the mind. And I always say the King of Swords has used truth, has used the mind to the point where they understand then that there needs to be heart that's brought into the use of the mind or the voice, honesty, things like that. What can you let go of? The Ace of Materials, the job. The Ace of Materials is a beautiful card. It's also about earth, but it's coming in here as the home, the job. So if you're using your mind, you are quite beautifully capable of the swords, of the voice, of speech. But I think you're doing it in service of security and wealth. And that's the part that you can let go of. And then I think once you let go of that, then you get that beautiful balance here. And so but let's see what the tarot says, because that was my third question. What happens when you let go of that? So you get this Two of Voices. So this is you in your mind being able to separate, make a decision, and go forward towards this portal in a decisive way. So you're tearing your hair out, you're of two minds. So that's what you get free of, that dilemma. And we definitely need to clarify. Let's see what's going on the bottom of the deck. Okay, two cards make sense to me. So the dilemma between structural power, norms, what you're supposed to do, and your authentic, absolute happiness. Very much, I think, this realm. in this realm are reiterated here in these cards. The Sun, happiest card in the tarot. And then the Hierophant, your job, your shoulds, what you're supposed to do. And it can be an institution that is real, like, you work for a big company or a big university, or it can be concepts in your mind, like norms and things like that. To me, it's coming in as your idea that you should work and you should make a certain amount of money. But it kind of appears that it's keeping you torn. You're torn. And like this beauty and grace versus this, like their hair is still tangled up. They're just, they need to decide between which thought, which is true, which truth is true. So let's clarify. We're going to clarify what you are responsible for, this beautiful dance on the edge of darkness, the muse of voices, under a pink moon. Okay, Queen of Swords, there's your mind, clear. She knows what to keep. She knows what to cut away. It's kind of the solution to this dilemma that we see in your cards, is like resolving this dilemma. Queen of Wands, very powerful. You are very much, this is the magician energy again. You're able to make the world that you want. The queen of the law of attraction. She's very attractive, asserts her will, very passionate. I see a balance here between the mind and the passions. This is what you're responsible for. And thirdly, you're being told by this card that there's something missing and you must leave something behind. There's only 8 and you need 9 for contentment. 9 of Cups is contentment. This is discontent. It takes you on a spiritual journey, but you have to leave something that you've been really putting all these cups together. And I think it has to do with this, whatever this thing that you need to let go of is, this real world thing. It's like your house, your paycheck, your status. It's a beautiful ideal, but you're being told to walk away from it because it's causing you discontent. This is your wound. So a wound like this comes from, so like you work too hard because you didn't have enough. That's what this tells me too. You didn't have enough. So this is overly important to you. The things, the paycheck, right? Status maybe. But let's see, what else? King of Cups. The Heart King, let me hang on here. Healing, 4 of Swords. Healing your mind. One more. 9 of Pentacles. There's somebody else that you feel responsible for. Yep. You can let go of being responsible for this other person. They are just fine on their own. And that doesn't mean you leave them. This is you. You have put your feelings on hold because you care about others. This is what you need to heal. That is what you need to heal. And you need to really believe that other people are okay without your help, without your sacrifice. And notice that the King of Cups and the Cups here, this is where you are sacrificing, is in your emotional needs. It's as if you make a living for somebody else, but they're perfectly fine without you. So what's your dilemma here? This is, if you let go of this idea that you're responsible for providing for this other person, and you or even if it's a providing for yourself, like if there's like with this wound, like that you came up in poverty, and so then you constructed a story that you were never going to be poor again, and you were going to what it's causing is that you're unable to see that you're actually here. You've already made it. This is the Empress in waiting. She has everything. She's made a beautiful home. She has all she needs. So let's see. If you let go of this idea, what happens? Queen of Cups. She's very good at expressing her feelings. Knight of Swords. There's some action. Quick, truth-based action. Could be a little angry. I don't see that. I see you riding towards the Queen of Cups on the table with the truth in hand. This entails a decision where you open up and something ends. End of a major life cycle. Yeah, and as we confront our wounds, the Chiron wound, like, we get to be done. We get to be done with learning this lesson. What I understand is you may not learn the lesson in your life. What I see here is if you can let go of this Ace of Materials, this doing your beautiful, amazing work out of a sense of obligation to somebody else or to an idea of security, then you get to walk towards this beautiful, so you walk away from something missing and you look at the cup you get. This is the missing cup. You get this. We see you riding with your mind, truth towards that here, and you get to finish with this wound if you are able to do this. On the bottom of the deck, we see two cards. The High Priestess, you intuitively know this, and the Emperor. This is about this is Aries, so this is where Chiron is now. Also very much like this energy of the structural power of the boss, the yes, no. It suggests to me that this, you know this, you've understood this, and you're actually ready to finish with this wound. And that's why it's such a dramatic difference between the Magician and this Maker Prince. It's like incredibly freeing. And the gift is, it's like more than you ever could have imagined, right? Like, these are very simple cups. There's something missing here. Like, this is what the emotional satisfaction, the expressiveness, it's like on the level of like, it's very rich. It's a very rich cup. Like, it's like the Holy Grail that you get when you let go of this practical Ace of Materials self-sacrifice that causes you to be over responsible in your work. Okay, well, I hope that helped. That's the end of that reading. I'm going to move on to the fourth reading here. A little transition time of cleaning up the cards. Oh, these two. I'm not paying attention to you because I think you just clicked off because we're done. Or you clicked forward because you're curious about this Two Worlds one, which will be our next reading. But anyway. That out of the way. Number 4, 59. All right, you are here for the fourth reading, and we have this beautiful Sun card and this Ace of Cups, this suggesting to me that your wound divides you into two, and you can feel that your absolute authenticity and happiness and heartfelt fulfillment are right there for you. But there's this division that you feel inside, and you would be helping people integrate in a way that you need to be integrated yourself in order to be your full authentic self, in order to have the sun dance here like this little she. She is spelled Sidhe. It is a kind of fairy. We have this deck of she fairies, and we have this for Hoxa deck, Swedish fairies, that we will use for this reading. Well, we need a card for your two sides, where you're split. You're split into two, so we'll pull a card for each side of you. And we will ask how to heal this split. And then we'll look at the bottom of the deck, and then we'll clarify. Okay. We'll cut the deck here. And we'll pull two cards for your two sides. Oh. I said that because the tarot here, it left a card on the table wanting this to be. So one side of you is in the Hanged Man. This is hangs out upside down, looks at things from a different perspective until you see the truth. You're stuck here. The other side of you is an Ace of Earth, very grounded energy. Yeah. So these are very different energies. This lacks groundedness. You can see this bat dragon holding you by your feet, kind of a representation of a divine energy that keeps you from moving forward. You're stuck here. This one is very grounded, is very much involved in tasks in the real world, not at all up in the air. Okay, well, how do you heal this split? The Three of Water. It looks like you have help. You have other friends, connections. This is a card of reconciliation. So to reconcile these two differences would be what we want to know from this reading. So how do you reconcile the Hanged Man and the Ace of Earth? We will find out more. It looks fun. Your solution looks very fun. Wow. It's a really beautiful underwater world that they're swimming in. I don't think I've spent time with any of these cards, although I love and use this deck often. So underlying energy at the bottom of the deck, what do we have? Lots of fire. Holy moly. Lots of energy going on underneath. That's great. I feel like we need this. So here is, so we have a Five of Fire, the little creative chaos here. This one is very much about this muscly little fairy having all of these outside voices, and she's kind of having to stand strong within them, assert her will against their will. So it's a competitive chaos. Then you get this idea of the Knight of Fire. This one seems to have calmed that snake that the Five of Fire is fighting. She's very fast energy, very passionate, very much exertion of will, charismatic, can be a little bit of trouble with commitment. Then there's the Queen of Fire. Queen of the Law of Attraction. There's a lot of willpower under energies that are not at all like that, right? These are all like airy and watery and earthy, but there's all this fire underlying. Very different. And then we do get a page of air. That's a beautiful fairy receiving this raven. The truth. Here, air represents the mind. A truth. This person tends to be young of mind, curious, open-minded, chatty. There's a need for fire to alchemize this. And I see that in you're divided, you're trapped, hanging upside down, you're grounded and super focused on very practical things. There's the sun here and here. I feel like that's what the underlying energy is with all of these wands. There's it looks like you have a tendency towards passivity. And you need to take action. Yeah. You need to take action and you're passive. And it's because you're very practical and you get stuck in your mind. And it helps you, though, to be among friends. They bring the fire. There's the sun right here, right? They bring this to you. They bring joy and they liberate you. But when you're by yourself, you get pretty stuck. They like you. They like how it feels to be around you because you're a very peaceful being. But if you find that you're somebody who needs other people to bring out your fun, that would be you. But you have all this passion, all this willpower to exert. It's just you don't. So it's because when you were little, everybody around you was so passionate, and their will was, you were like this little one. There were all these passionate people around you, and you were of this nature too. In fact, this is your destiny, is to be this one, this fiery queen, this sun queen, this Leo, Aries energy. So Chiron being an Aries, like, it's not surprising to have all of this fire. There's something happening in an air sign. Saturn is in the air. And Chiron is the son of Saturn, the rejected and abandoned son of Saturn. So that's what I say that because there's the air sign. So this is actually, like, if we say that Chiron is a self-inflicted wound, because he gets hurt, but his first wound is actually this abandonment. And so that's what I feel like you're dealing with, is like you come from fire people who abandoned you somehow. And so you don't identify with your fire, with your sun. And so you tend to need other people to bring that out for you. And what they actually like is that you're so calm, that you lack fire, that you just kind of, you don't insist on your will, right? You're just very good at this. Being amongst strong-willed people. But you actually can reconcile with this passivity. You can heal this passivity if you have friends who encourage you to take hold of your own fire. That's your message. So let's see if we'll clarify that, but there's more maybe. So let's find out about you're torn in two between the Hanged Man and the Ace of Earth. So let's find out about the Hanged Man. Queen of Swords. There's the air that I sense in this Hanged Man, like the mind. She has clarity. The Moon, a lack of it. Mystery, secrecy, silence. Four of Pentacles, control. So you get stuck in your head and confused by what you don't know, and so that's what keeps you stuck. You tend to be controlling. And actually, so these two halves of you relate. So this is your Pentacle state. You know, you're really good at making this practical place, the small expectations place, beautiful and comfortable, if lonely. I'm just planting seeds here. So let's see. You get stuck in your mind, and then it makes you controlling. The Hanged Man is a stuck place. So is the Four of Pentacles. So here's balance, practical again, very low, small number. There's waiting, passivity. There's the fire, the Knight of Wands, same one that we have here, underlying. Yeah, it's interesting because you've got really good agents here in the Queen of Swords under your Hanged Man, and then this Knight of Wands under your Ace of Earth. These are actors. These are people that are decisive and have clarity and act. So you have them in there. They just get muddled and stuck in Earth. Really practical, basic, stagnant energy. Because you've overlearned how to be calm in the storm. And so the solution is to let the people that are drawn to you heal you back. So you're very nice to be around because you're calm, and you don't have to give that up. It's just let it also bring out your fire. Let's see. Let's clarify that. Victory. This card follows the Five of Fire. Right? You can see how it's organized. This person is being recognized and listened to here. So that's part of what happens with these people that are your friends. Also, we get you building together, you working with others, the Three of Pentacles, you each have something to offer, right? So if this is just the fun part of your friendships these are good friends. So they're also people that make a very practical, secure world. They make this beautiful cathedral with you. And the Empress, this is you having achieved self-sufficiency. You're very loving, you're very grounded. This is so related to this energy. It's just so matured and comfortable in her skin and complete in and of herself. There's no lack, there's no division. She can bring together all of the diverse forces of the planet. It's a unified self that just comes through. I feel like you have friends who you will know that they are your true friends because you get to be your Empress self with them. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Sun. This is absolute happiness and authenticity. Really beautiful reading, and it's the sun, right, which has been is here. This is the same card. It's here lighting up this Ace of Water. It's like your fire is going to get lit again. That's what this reading says. You're not in touch with your fire because were around fire people who abandoned you. Like Chiron was abandoned by Saturn. It's almost like it's a father wound. It's that. And it could be a mother wound, but it feels, well, because the Queen of Fire is here, like it could be the Queen of Fire is the wound, the source of the wound. Yeah, it could be either parent has abandoned you or both. And that you learned in this fiery family of chaos and competition for attention and forceful ideas. It's like the dinner table it just made you quiet and you just checked out of it. And you've become very, very practical and your world has become very, very small. And you have within you the sharp mind of the Queen of Swords and amazing charisma and power and agency of the Knight of Wands. But it looks like you get to actually ride forward like this with really good friends that help you build a very stable world. They like you. They like your energy. You don't have to lose that. It's just you also need your mojo, my friend. And that is the wound that you have to heal here on this journey. Well, I hope this helps. I really enjoyed doing this pick a card reading with you all. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Let me turn that off.